So we're going to talk today about the Scrum Extension Pack that was recently released and how to apply it and how to use it, and what are the interesting aspects it add into the Scrum. First of all, the important things to mention that Scrum Extension Pack is not something that's intended to replace Scrum Guide. It's just trying to extend the Scrum Guide that was actually released 2020 by the modern approaches and adopt to the AI world. So I guess this is the main idea. So let's walk over it. So first of all, it's available online, so you can go and read it through. And also there are some discussions that happen in the Reddit and on the scrum.org about how it's applicable. Is it on time, or how to apply it? So I will try to share my opinion on it today as well. First of all, the Scrum Extension Pack bring back the roles. So you know that in Scrum Guide, roles was kind of replaced by accountabilities that kind of make more sense. But Scrum Extension Pack says that, okay, let's be pragmatic about it. We keep calling people in the roles. So let's, in addition to accountabilities, let's have our roles back. If I will start working backward, it's still quite straightforward. We still have Scrum Master, and this role of Scrum Master not really changed. But we start saying that Scrum Master needs to be a coach that help with not only with technical practices but also help with AI practices and AI tools onboarding. We have a product owner, kind of natural one, and there are a couple of artifacts that I want to discuss further that has relationship to product owner role. And the developers accountability kind of expanded into the product developer role. So we're saying that product developers are someone who's delivering incremental every sprint through the cross-functional capabilities. But what's new? There are kind of three new roles that wasn't intentionally inside the Scrum Guide. First of all, is stakeholder is kind of natural one, but it wasn't ever called accountability or role in Scrum Guide. But now we're saying so stakeholder is a particular role. So this is group has interest and impact on what's product or we are working on. Also, extension pack extract a special subset of stakeholders as a supporter. So they need to foster the climate environment for the change that was driven by the product. Also, that's kind of interesting, and I think this is one of the reasons why we've got the extension pack in place. AI is introduced, artificial intelligence is introduced as a Scrum team member. And that's interesting, really, because now, as we're saying that it's not only about the people, product developers who work on the product. It's also about AI, who help and who can work on the product backlog items. It needs to be supervised, but it has a same level precedence as the other Scrum team member. And that's interesting, and this is really interesting idea to unpack, and I will try to unpack it a little bit further, okay? And again, for everyone who just joined, the chat is open, so feel free to drop any questions or any comments into the chat. Okay, what else? It's kind of natural that Scrum Extension Pack is trying to cover something in broader scope that what we have in the Scrum Guide in a nutshell. I don't want to say it's completely new idea. All this thing is available when you are going through product ownership courses, when you look into the Scrum patterns and look into the product Scrum patterns, for example. But here it was statements that in addition to the delivery cycle, we have a discovery cycle, and also we need to be sure we have the possibility to get a feedback and validate value realization. So ultimately what it means, we are kind of extending the flow, right? So there is a particular flow that Scrum team is owning, but we're extending the flow. We're incorporating the discovery funnel, the delivery pipe, but also we're adding a longer feedback loop to get the validation of value. And there are some other instruments that helping us with validate value realization in the extension. What also changed? If we're saying that our kind of impact and flow become bigger, extension pack proposing us to think more about what we have as a definition of done. You probably is familiar with the concept of scale definition of done. So when we have multiple teams that works under the same product, each particular Scrum team can has their own definition of done, but altogether there needs to be aligned on the definition of done, or definition of done. So it really depends how much complexity you add on top of it. But here, this is exactly the same idea with a bit different wording. We're saying that product should have definition of outcome. That means that there is a product and product has impact on the customers. But at the same time, if we have increment, we have definition of output. So it's more technical definition of done, what done mean by the team, but it's not always requires a customer impact to be measured, right? So this is different. Our definition of output is more narrow, connect to the end of the sprint, and definition of outcome is more broader term when it's connect to the impact that we create by our product that impact our customer. Also, we're still saying that we have sprint goal, we have product goals, and we also extend the product goal because we're talking about the discovery cycle. We're extending the product goal by the product vision. It's kind of the concept that's also not described in Scrum Guide, but again, it's quite common and it's inside the Scrum patterns. Yes, as mentioned, so we have sprint goals, product vision. The other thing is, in addition to acceptance criteria, we are adding outcome criteria. And outcome criteria is actually another small change that extension pack advises us to do, is actually to, that in Scrum sprint planning, we have two levels of planning, what and how. But here, because we want to measure the outcome, we want to introduce new level, and we have three levels of planning and saying why we're doing so. Why, what, and how. And basically, it's become much more closer to goal setting framework. We can use OKR, so we can use some other goal setting framework. But when we're driving the product development cycle through discovery and delivery and validation, it's kind of become natural to have outcome criteria. Makes sense? So yeah, nothing special, but really makes sense, and to have it in one place. What are the adjustments? We're talking about that kind of natural one, that refinement is the activity. It's ongoing activity, but it can be formal and informal. And when we're saying it can be formal, it means it can have representations of real events, scheduled events. So again, nothing new, but it makes a little bit clearer on how to handle it. The other thing is multi-Scrum team products. So Scrum Guide itself is not referring to the Scrum of Scrum concept, but here we're ultimately talking about this Scrum of Scrum activities, but we need to have multiple teams involved under the same product goals, product backlog, product owner, baseline definition of outcome for done, and the baseline definition of output. So that means kind of we're trying to align the Scrum team that are multi-Scrum teams that are working under the same problem. Again, makes sense for everyone who is familiar with Scrum of Scrum, Scrum at scale, large scale Scrum, really, well-known concept, but here it's directly inside the Scrum Expansion Pack. Okay, and so let's make a step back and try to understand why we think it's important, or why in the summer of 2025 it was the right time to release this extension pack. The answer will be the following. There is a massive impact of AI to the teams and development teams' productivity. It's a DORA research is from 2024, so I'm pretty sure for this year it will be even higher. But we see the significant impact in productivity that are increased by applying the AI tools and AI agents. And when I start talking about the AI agents, we should talk about this 4 layers of AI framework. So basically, the moment when the current Scrum Guide was released in 2020, we have development team who was doing the activity to deliver the product, right? So it was clear. So it was manual process with some automation, but it was a manual process. No AI was involved at all. We have assistants, we have smart development environments, we have CI/CD, but again, it was kind of a manual process. Unless you can type really fast, your productivity was kind of limited. Well, you can copy paste quickly from Stack Overflow and after that adjust, but again, what happened with AI come on the stage, we got to the next level, we got to the next level of AI assistant involvement. And you probably, you're all familiar with LLMs like ChatGPT or Claude by Anthropics or Gemini by Google that actually kind of act as assistants. They're helping you to write text, they're helping you to create something, they're helping you to write code. You can ask a question, you can discuss, and you can try to find a solution, discuss architecture, generate diagram, and so on and so forth. So basically, why AI become a member of the team? Because before you need to book a time after daily stand-up or ad hoc through the day and talk to your colleague or chat to your colleague and get the response. Now you can do it with your colleague, but also you can talk to a LLM. And yeah, you probably got some ideas. But what's important, it's moving forward to the level 3, where we introduce not AI assistants, but we introduce AI agents. An AI agent is a new word of this year is a vibe coding. It means that like now LLMs is creating code. So you prompt only, you submit the prompt, and LLM generated your source code that's trying to match what you're trying to develop. So now instead of writing the code, you're giving a task to LLM and you're checking how it performed. And now it starts looking like a junior developer or junior team member that you're supervised as a senior engineer, for example, senior developer, senior product developer. And this is why AI, kind of become a member of the team from that point of view, because with assistant, it's still assistant, it's still, it's really smart development environment, but with AI agent, it's really got a precedence, it's got a place. And if we talk to across the industry, we can see that some companies said they have around 20% of code generated by AI. Some companies said they have around 5 to 10%, but there is impact on the industry by the AI engines. And kind of, but a bit scary direction, but still is when we have fully automated AI, when AI act by itself and no one is checking it. And again, that's why Scrum Extension Guide is Scrum Extension Pack is emphasizing that AI needs to be supervised by human. We need to validate what's done. What does impact it having on the Scrum team? And I guess there is some fear that Scrum Master won't be needed, or we need less developers, or we don't need Scrum anymore, and because there are some rumors that actually when you work with AI agents and when you're trying to vibe code, old good waterfall works better than Scrum because it's not about humans anymore. And waterfall was designed to have fast gates or stage gates to make validation of decisions that it makes, and it should work like a charm with AI environment. Now, and that become interesting. So the first article about it was published by Henrik Nieberg. It's here. He started talking about that actually what happened. We have Scrum team that was like, two pizza team, up to 10 people. We all know that. But now AI has a precedence. Now AI agent become a member of the team. So what's the impact? We have cross-functional AI teams that become smaller. Now we need less people because we empower them by the competency provided by the AI agent. And what happened is the complexity is increasing actually, because we have less people inside the Scrum team with AI that can generate the same amount of output and outcome, right? It generates the same impact, maybe even more. And now we need to coordinate them. Now, from the process point of view, from our org design point of view, we need to make sure that we work in synchronization. And also, there is a concept of super team when we have a lot of teams that are working on top of one product, but all of this team is AI teams or AI kind of empowered teams. So the question is how to coordinate it. And that's the answer that Scrum Extension Pack is trying to give us. So that's the idea behind it. You can find there are some other articles, but they will be kind of similar to what Henrik wrote. There's an article on Harvard Business Review that's you see a lot of micro teams kicking off in the state. Also, you can see some other impacts of like small startup with a smaller scale who is faster. I can give you some particular examples. For example, when you was in the discovery phase, that's why it's also here we're talking a lot about the discovery. In the discovery phase, you work with product owners, work with designers to think about the user experience and the user flows, and you're making the reviews of existing competitors. So probably you work with analytics, and you're making marketing research or market research. You make customers interview and so on and so forth. What changed? It changed dramatically. Now you use AI to make user researches. Now you don't need a designer on the all stages. Now you can deal with solutions like Replit or DevZero or Lovable tools that allow product owner to generate the mocks that actually work in prototype of the solution he's trying to build. And test it to the users and make user research based on the working prototype much, much faster without explaining everything that needs to be done. So there is a really serious and I would say dramatic impact on it. Yeah, so basically that's more or less that what I shared for today. So again, wrapping it up. So the idea of Scrum Guide Extension Pack is actually to help Scrum teams to adopt to the impact that AI is having for the industry today. And I would say it's quite a good attempt, and I will advise all the Scrum teams that are struggling right now and trying to shift the gears and need to speed up to dive deep into it and see how it goes. And small, probably promotion. If you want to find more about how AI is impacting the way how we work in agile teams and how we can implement AI strategy in your company, we'll welcoming you in our AI Foundation of AI course authorized by AC Agile. So always welcome to join, as well as we have a bunch of other courses that we still deliver live in person. That means the education still stay as a premium with live humans, as it can provide responses to the real audience. Thank you. And yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will stop the recording now. Stop the recording.